continue up here. Okay, Hannes Swoboda, former MEP and colleague. And
thank you very much. As the ministers perhaps don't want to speak because they just want to listen. As we all, and thank you very much for what the work you did. It's extremely necessary and important. I don't want to repeat what has been said by my former colleagues. But I think the Commission and the European institutions will only invest in the future, in the books, in the translations, if the pressure is coming also from the ministers of the region. And therefore my appeal is to you all who do so an important job in your country, please tell the Commission you need it, we need it, we all need it. Otherwise the Commission, is confronted with so many ideas what they could do and how to do it spend. And even if that means perhaps 1 mile autobahn less a year, maybe the opening is some minutes later, and there have been politicians who have understanding for that. But I think this is the important issue, and therefore we are very grateful that you are here, that you are listening, that you're taking up. And I think if you look at the book, as I did, it is so important that, especially in the times we are confronting now, with rising populism, it's even more important. And it's populism in all parts of the world, not only in your part, it's in all parts. So I think my appeal is going to the ministers, please support us, give the signal to the Commission and say it's important, at least important as highways or big buildings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannes Swoboda. And while you were speaking, I just thought, well, how about the suggestion that because there are ministers, deputy ministers, high-level officials of all the countries' ministries here, how about, and I can propose that I draft something if you want to, together with my colleagues here, how about that all of you sign up and write 1 letter together to Commissioner Hahn and whoever's going to have budget in the future.
And to Madame Lunacek.
Sorry?
And to Madame Lunacek.
Yeah. No, you can write it also to the Parliament and all of us, but that you write that together, you formulate 1 letter in English, don't have to be in all the languages, but in English, to the Commission and also to us in the Parliament, that you really want these textbooks to be translated in all of the languages of the region. I would then suggest that maybe...
Za priliku da govorim, ja sam bio pripremio jedno izlaganje koje se ticalo kritičkog mišljenja. Da bi se nakon toga bavili historijom, tačnije onim što se desilo prije 50, 100 ili više godina.
And then only we can talk about something that happened before 50 or more years ago.
Ovo sam ponukan jednom stvari kojom svi oni koji prate politiku na području Balkana, prvenstveno u Bosni i Hercegovini.
I would say this because of one thing that all of the people who are following the political issues and the history of Western Balkans
sigurno znaju.
For sure they know this.
Znači, teško je govoriti o kritičkom mišljenju kada u praksi, na terenu, u lokalnoj zajednici imate onemogućavanje osnova demokracije da birate i budete birani.
It's very hard to talk about critical opinion when in your own country you have a problem to elect and be elected in democratic way.
Znači, ja živim u gradu Mostaru koji izbora nema više od 10 godina.
I live in the city of Mostar and we didn't have elections in more than 10 years now.
Znači, mladi ljudi nisu uopšte u prilici da iznose bilo kakvo mišljenje, a pogotovo kritičko.
The young people, they are not available, they don't have any opportunity to say their own opinion among less, they cannot say their critical opinion.
Excuse me very much. I have to interrupt you. We have lots of debates here about the situation in Bosnia and in all the other countries of the region. The problem is, at 3 o'clock, there will be another meeting in this room. I'm sorry that it took so long, but I think it was necessary to hear the opinions of the historians. We cannot go into debating now the other problems that there are in the region. What my request was to you as ministers or advisors to the ministers, whether you would be willing to together approach the Commission and the Parliament in order to make that happen, something very concrete that we can do now. We cannot solve the problems that we have with electoral systems, with other political situations right now, and I would really ask you not to refer to them. It simply doesn't work. Will you be willing to have a common letter to the Commission and to us that this is going to be translated in all of the country's languages? That's the only thing I'm afraid we can talk right now. I'm sorry I had to interrupt you, but the point of this meeting also was to talk about this issue of how to deal with history and how to move on to the future, and not to discuss other aspects. As you have to resolve them that in your own countries with the support of us. But that was not the point right now. I'm very
Morao sam vam
sorry.
reći da ne možemo učiti historiju kad ne možemo rješavati probleme sadašnjosti.
I just wanted to say that we cannot learn history when we cannot solve the problems of today.
No, I'm sorry, but I think you can start with something. This is something that is important as well. I hope I can have your support on that as well. So, I'm very sorry. We'll have to finish. This happens in this Parliament. Also, we only usually have the right to speak like 1 or 2 minutes. So, I will give the final couple of minutes to Mrs. Koluri and Mr. Karas. Do you want to have some final words?
Well, the first point is about emergencies, because this is, if there is always this opinion, the perspective that history is not so urgent. But actually what we try to show is that history should be one of the priorities, because if it is not resolved, then conflict is reproduced. We understand there are practical issues everywhere, in Greece also, but even in other countries. I mean, in 2 days from now, I'm going to Japan. They have also the same problems with China and Korea, and they want to resolve them because they know that they cannot plan the future without resolving this question. Silence, because you asked something. I mean, I think that our project is about, it's against silence. Because what we think is that if we don't speak about these issues, then ignorance prevails and stereotypes are constructed. So we have to be brave, we have to be professional and speak about the unspeakable. So we are against silences and against segregation. I can't say anything more on that, sorry, because if Mr. Karas wants to have a floor, I should stop here.
Yes, I'm not, and given as much chance as possible to people to speak, I want to say that when I spoke about the need for all of us to take responsibility, at this stage, that crucially applies to people inside the European Union. Because here is a European Union project which has got a long way. And in order for it to be effective, it needs to reach ordinary teachers and even more ordinary pupils in schools. If that is done, it will gradually, over decades, lead to a big improvement in our region. That, I think, is an aim worth fighting for. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this was a great word to end that, to sort of call to the responsibility of all of us, wherever we live on this continent, to really move forward and to make sure that history will not repeat itself, but that we will really learn from what has happened before. I will finalize here. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming, for taking the time also for listening for 2 hours to a very important thing. And I hope reading these books will also help every one of us to understand a bit more. And I'm confident that we will manage to get these books also translated in all of the languages. But that we have to do together. Thank you very much.
Sektsioon 8. Zo is het dus ook. Kijk, wat zullen we dan meteen?